Welcome to Firm, folks. Mark Merrill here, Fairness in Reporting Media. We're talking about bad things and good tidings. There's good news and there's bad news in the ways and avenues of politics. And for once, the good news is with American citizens. All of you, wonderful people out there, the law-abiding citizens, the biological men and women, boys and girls. Isn't that nice for a change? While the bad news, for now anyway, is coming in red waves against the deflectocrats, the Democratic Party. Here's what I mean, folks. As you see before you here, Mr. Trump, along with Vice President J.D. Vance, we're going to get started with an article about the Supreme Court. It seems Donald Trump has been quite busy with the Supreme Court. No doubt that you're on top of it as well if you follow the good news out there. As you can see, the court is about to review a challenge to Trump's birthright citizenship order and see what's going to happen there. The court agreed back on December 5th to review whether the president's executive order restricting birthright citizenship is constitutional, taking up a major case that could reshape long-standing interpretations of the 14th Amendment, which is, it's so ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen, because the 14th Amendment had to do with accepting Confederate soldiers after the Civil War was won by the North. Leave it to the deflectocrats to, drag the past and try to re-educate, reform, and screw it all up just to try and have their way. Trump's order, signed on his first day back in office in January, halts automatic citizenship for children born in the U.S. to non-citizens, unless at least one parent is a citizen or a lawful permanent resident. Well, the policy has been frozen for months after it drew a wave of lawsuits. Several courts ruled that it conflicts with the 14th Amendment, which has long been interpreted to grant automatic citizenship to anyone born on U.S. soil. Well, the amendment's citizenship clause states, quote, in print, by the way, Dems, dummies, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. The Trump administration argues courts have misread that language for years, saying the common interpretation extends far beyond the amendment's original purpose. U.S. Solicitor General John Sauer wrote in the court documents that the amendment was intended to guarantee citizenship to formerly enslaved black Americans and their children. See, not just the Confederate soldiers who lost the war. It was to guarantee, or intended to guarantee, citizenship to formerly enslaved black Americans and their children, not to the children of people who entered the country illegally or who are in the U.S. temporarily. Go away. Moving on, folks. Next, as far as the Supreme Court's concerned, once again, this one is about Mr. Trump warning Europe. A lot of the European nations, actually, folks, face civilizational erasure, he calls it, tied to mass migration in new security strategy. Now, Mr. Trump warned that Europe faces the stark prospect of civilizational erasure, arguing in a new national security blueprint that decades of European Union-backed mass migration have driven cultural and economic decline across the continent. 2025 National Security Strategy released December 5th by the White House blames rising crime, strained public resources, weakened social cohesion, labor market disruption, and the erosion of national identities on migration policies embraced across the EU. The document insists that decisions about who a country admits into its borders, in what numbers, and from where will invariably define the future of that nation. I don't know how much more clear you guys need it over there. All you Brits, the others living on the Isles of the British Isles, not to mention France, Germany, and God help the rest of Europe, if that's the case. But he says if current trends continue, Europe could become unrecognizable in 20 years. According to a document, it also questions whether some European nations will remain economically or militarily strong enough to serve as reliable U.S. allies anymore. Do you like that? You want World War? Not unless somebody else has something to say about it, ladies and gentlemen. You know who I'm talking about. God created the earth and everything on it. He'll say, when it's time for the second coming of his Son, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, he'll say. This is a lengthy story, folks, but we're going to get to more good things as opposed to bad things in this episode. But in addition to its focus on Europe, the 33-page report outlines U.S. priorities across 4 other regions: Western Hemisphere, Asia, Middle East, and Africa. Central focus is on the Western Hemisphere, where the administration introduced what it calls the Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine. You may recall in our own history. According to the document, the U.S. seeks to block non-hemispheric competitors from establishing strong footholds in the region, while strengthening partnerships that help control migration, disrupt drug trafficking, and bolster stability. After years of neglect, it states, the United States will reassert and enforce the Monroe Doctrine to restore American preeminence in the Western Hemisphere and to protect our homeland and our access to key geographies throughout the region. Hey, guess what, Canada, Mexico, South America? If you don't give a damn, you're on your own. Dig it? We're not spending that much time on it, folks. That's the bottom line of it right there. Now, folks, our friend Bobby Charles, who you now see before you, was talking about the city of Bangor. It's in big trouble. Bangor is about to fund an open-air drug market. Mr. Charles revealed the Bangor City Council is just a short few days away from approving something reckless, a taxpayer-funded, government-sanctioned drug encampment. Oh, boy. Can I go, Mom? Sarcasm meant intentional. They won't call it that, but it's exactly what it is, says Mr. Charles in his report here. Mr. Charles says he's spent years in counter-narcotics and national security. He says he knows what happens when you formalize an open-air drug market. Traffickers move in, crime spikes, vulnerable people are trapped in addiction with no way out. And what exposes the truth? Not one councilor pushing the plan would spend a single night in an existing encampment. They know it's dangerous. That bottom line enough for everybody out there? They know people are preyed upon there, and that's why they will not do it. That's why Mr. Charles wrote a public letter opposing that plan. Here is his challenge to the Bangor City Council, posted online and on his website, bobbyformaine.com. If you believe this sanctioned encampment is safe, Spend one night in it. If you won't, you have no right to force vulnerable Mainers to do it. Bangor already spent nearly $120,000 cleaning up an encampment with no long-term fix. Now they want to fence it in, fund it, and pretend that's compassion. It isn't, he says. It's government-approved neglect, and it creates Augusta Democrats' worst failures at the local level. Why Augusta? Well, that's where the legislature is, folks. You going to ignore it? Think it's going to go away? What if your kids go wandering down there? They may not come home. Ready for that? I don't care how old they are. Maine needs real solutions. End the encampment model, not expand it. Enforce the law and break up trafficking networks. Prioritize detox, recovery, and a real path to stable housing. A sanctioned encampment does not solve the crisis. It cements it. For the sake of the community of Bangor and greater Bangor communities, for the neighborhoods around those sites, and for the people trapped in addiction. Mr. Charles says we cannot allow Bangor to make the mistake. Add your name on his website. Let's shut it down before it starts. www.bobbyformaine.com. bobbyformaine.com. Right there. Here, folks, we have a Democrat candidate who's all of a sudden finding out that he might not be such a good guy after all. Troy Jackson. Yeah, what do we say right here? Well, we took a page off of his, off of the internet, to be precise. It says Troy Jackson at the top, and in the middle we wrote, he's in big trouble before 2026. And here's a report from a video to let you know why. He's not as clean as he comes, folks. Check it out.
A top corrupt Democrat in Augusta. But beneath the suit and the title, serious questions are swirling. He signed a taxpayer-backed FHA mortgage, claiming the home in Augusta was his full-time residence. Instead, he flipped the house for a profit after failing to meet occupancy requirements. Plain and simple, that's fraud. He also billed taxpayers for over $160,000, claiming 600-mile round-trip commutes from his district to work in Augusta, even though he lives just minutes from the State House. And get this, while serving as a legislator, he accepted free legal services from a powerful law firm, lobbyists, who stand to benefit from legislation he supports. That smells like pay-to-play, FHA mortgage fraud, taxpayer travel scam, insurance misrepresentations, pay-to-play with lobbyists, elder abuse lawsuits, residency violations. Are we watching public service or a personal ATM? The only way Mainers get real accountability is by demanding answers now. Meet Troy Jackson, a top corrupt Democrat in Augusta. But
that is it, folks, right there. But I'll tell you what, it is not a good look for Mr. Jackson. He is in a bad way. And he's a bad man, folks. We're going to give you some more information about Mr. Jackson and about the Maine Democratic Party right here from their own website. Ready to have an earful? Even more? You think Jackson is just the only one with problems and corrupt schemes and acts that he thinks he's going to get away with without prosecution, without indictment, without being forced to answer for every single thing that you heard in that short video? It's been revealed, folks. Firm says no to the Democrats. Go ahead if you want to look up their website. It's pretty easy to find. It's, I believe, MaineDemocrats.com. But here's what they have to say about their party and contacting them. Our party, under volunteering, register to vote, and to donate. Correction on that website, folks. It's maindems.org/our-party. maindems.org/our-party. The MDP, as they initialize it on there, is dedicated to making sure government at every level works for all Maine people. Oh, that's a good one. Way to start off. Oh, that's terrible. From the school board to the Blaine House, they say, the party supports candidates with a positive vision for our state. Really? Positive, huh? Special rights for the LGBTQ and trans. Special rights for illegals who get handouts from George Soros. Sanctuary cities from Fort Kent to Kittery, Freiburg to Lubeck. With Janet Mills, still has one more 10 or 11 months to go before she has to leave. She's going to do that in January, folks. We have to stop it, but that's what she's proposing. Sanctuary cities everywhere within our borders. They support a positive vision for the state. We believe in a fair shot for everyone, and to make that vision a reality, we're investing more earlier in organizing and outreach than ever before. Is that right? Oh, they're building, they say, grassroots campaign movements to help spread our message about standing up for working Mainers and moving Maine's economy forward with good-paying jobs. They don't specify exactly what those good-paying jobs would be by any chance. No, they don't. I'm sure you can peruse around the website if you dare to. We believe, they say, that their democratic values are these. Ready? Affordable and accessible health care. We don't right now, folks. It's just days before Christmas. Lies. Strong schools. Nope. Higher incomes. Nope. And an economy that works for everyone, not just the wealthy few. Oh, wow. Does that mean that anybody who's earning, let's say, $500,000 a year or more is not part of all those values? Wow. Good thing Trump doesn't come from there. And one more statement, folks, before we wrap it up. Democrats saying that we believe when we take care of all those values, we take our message to the people wherever they are, and they prove it at the ballot box. Is that from all of the park bench elites who have no home, some of them veterans, you including those, Mills, Bellows, Ryan Fecto, Attorney General Fry. Those are the people you're talking about when you say all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's up to you. As we head into a new year, not too long from now, even though we're in mid-December, as always, we need to hear from you on a regular basis. Sooner the better. FairnessInReportingMedia@gmail.com. FairnessInReportingMedia@gmail.com. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Truth, facts, reality, and common sense. In the meantime, folks, pray that what they're talking about on their website is such garbage, lies, trash, and innuendos that they don't even believe it. Or maybe they do. And if so, you want that future for your kids, even if they're just about ready to graduate college? I don't think so. Mark Merrill for Farm. Peace to all.